my sophomore year of high school and he was just about to graduate, and he came with some friends to my local youth group. And I was sitting next to one of my friends when we first noticed him, and she told me to look at him, and my first thought was that he had a nice butt because he wasn't facing me. And then throughout like the weeks of youth group, we just slowly got to know each other. We would do like thumb wars after supper before like the message and stuff started, and we just slowly got to know each other there.
Well, I suppose the first time we met was at youth group in Wakefield. I went down with a couple of friends I knew, but she was a cute girl at youth group. I guess I found her pretty dang attractive. But I guess I didn't think we'd be here today on that day. That's for dang sure. It's been a journey, but more than excited.
So, being in high school, I spent a lot of time at his baseball practices during the summer, because really the afternoons and the evenings were our only times to like meet together. So I took a lot of naps in the pickup, watched a lot of baseball practice, and we went fishing here at Buckskin a lot too. So we really just got to know each other during that first year and a half, and then we were just at different points in our lives, so we separated ways. And then I want to say it was 2019, fall of 2019, right before Thanksgiving. Me and my friend Rachel were out just having a girls' night, and my number one rule was don't let Rachel drunk snap Chase, and she didn't follow that rule, and I drunk snapped him, and from there it's just kind of we started where we left off.
First time around she was my personal cheerleader for baseball that summer, and remember going to extra proms and homecomings, even though I was graduated with my stuff, went off to college. Ended up not working out. It was like the right person, just wrong time. And then second time around, she was by all definitions my crazy ex-girlfriend there for a while. I can even remember when I told my dad we were getting back together, he just gave me this quizzical look, and he's like, "Are you sure?" Because I'd vented to him about it a few times about how crazy she was. But yeah, I'm sure enough to put a ring on it. So but yeah, she sent me a drunk Snapchat, and me being Andre, I gave her a call the next day because we hadn't talked in probably about a year. And it just kind of picked off from there.
So that was technically Chase the first time around. He had made a tweet that said he wants to hang out tonight, any takers, and me being 16 and liking this guy thought that multiple people would like this tweet, and no one else did besides me. So then he came and sat on our front porch because my mom wouldn't let me go with him, obviously, and we sat there for like 3 hours just watching videos and talking. And we didn't really, I guess, necessarily have a first date this time around. We went out for drinks the one night, and we decided to pretty much get back together at that point, but for sure it was him both times initiating the first meetup.
First date, huh? Well, our first date the second time, we just met up for drinks down at the White Dog in Wayne. We just got together to kind of catch up, and that was that. Our first date, the first time, I guess you could kind of call it a date. I had tweeted that pretty much I was bored, or like, what's anybody doing tonight? She happened to reply, so I guess I slid into those DMs and found myself just hanging out with her on her porch for, oh God, it was a few hours, a few to several, probably 4 or 5 even, just sitting, bullshitting, getting to know each other. And it's simple but nice.
Not gonna lie, I don't really remember either one. I'm sure he initiated both of them, and I'm assuming this time around when we went out for drinks, that was when our first kiss was again. But the first one, I probably should know, but I don't.
Well, that's a good question. Knowing her, and yeah, I'd have to say me both times. Me. Probably me. Well, yeah, me. First or second time. I feel like it was kind of like First time, definitely me. Second time, I feel like it was kind of both. I don't know, it was like on the tip of your tongue in a way for both of us. I think, but I was the first one that actually said it. But I feel like it was kind of obvious that we both felt that way.
When we were in high school, the first kiss that we had, we were actually in Yankton, and we had just been hanging out that day. We went on like a little day date, and we were sitting on a bench watching like the ducks and swans and stuff just floating and swimming around. And that's the first time that he said it. And then right after that, in the middle of that moment, two of his buddies pulled up right in the middle, and so the moment was over, so it didn't last for very long. And then this time around, I knew that I wanted to say it like way before he did, but I was skeptical. But I was making spaghetti in my brother's kitchen, and I was singing into a wooden spoon and dancing around, and I don't know if he really meant to say it in that moment, but he just kind of looked at me and was like, "Gosh, I love you." So yeah, and it kind of took me back. I just instantly started stirring the spaghetti. I didn't really know how to respond. So my very first memory of that is we went and shot bullfrogs when we were in high school and stuff, and I'm pretty sure I did outshoot him. I'm pretty sure that I'm remembering that right. He may have helped me get there, but I definitely outshot him that day, and I never let him forget it. And then anytime that we go fishing and I catch more fish, I very much remind him that I caught more fish throughout like that entire day and even after that. But he was the one that gave me the lures to catch the more fish. He always puts it on my hook because it's working for him. So he doesn't think it counts, but I think it counts. So I always catch more fish than him.
Oh, our thing. I feel like I'm always joking around with her. But yeah, no, she's a klutz. I think every time she goes down to church camp, she dang near breaks something. And then with fishing, she likes to think she's a better fisher than me, but that's just because I'm nice and I give her the first choice of lure that I would probably use. And then of course she catches more fish than me. That hurts. I don't even know. She doesn't fish as much as I do, so I don't know if it's just the luck of the draw or what, but yeah. And she also likes to think she's a better shot than me, even though she doesn't shoot that much. From our first, well, I guess our date day when I asked her out, we went and shot bullfrogs with the 22. And little did I know, Miss Eagle Eye has 30/20 vision, and I might as well be blind as a bat. So that probably has something to do with it.
So I, throughout the 2 years at that point, 2.5 years that we had been together, like I knew from the start that I wanted to marry him, and we pretty much both knew that it was coming eventually. But I always just joked with him about it for years because I was impatient. But the actual proposal, I didn't know a thing about until like the week before. I was working down at my church camp, and his sister and I had made plans to go get our nails done together that weekend because I was going to be home. But I was living in the middle of a forest, and so I told Chayce, I was like, I don't know why I'm getting my nails done. Like, I literally work in a forest. And he always just tells me to do what I want and whatever. So I asked my mom if I should get my nails done, because she always tells me no to save money. And she said yes, that I should get my nails done. And that's when I really started to think about the situation. And then I had surprised him home the weekend before, and he was asking me about like how would I feel about getting proposed to on like a holiday or something. And he said every single holiday but Memorial Day weekend, which is when we got engaged. And then I was potentially not going to be able to come back that weekend. And I heard, like, when I told him that I was going to have to work, I heard the panic in his voice. And I could just tell he was like, wait, what? No, like, you have to come back. Like, we have plans. And so I kind of started putting everything together, and my boss let me off for the weekend. But I had thought about it so we went on a boat right after his sister and I got back from getting our nails done, and I wanted to change to my swimsuit because we were going on the boat, but his sister insisted that I stay in my cute outfit that we had on. And as we were going down the river, I remember looking at him and being like, there's not a ring box in his pocket, like all I can see is the chew can. And I'm like, okay, it's not happening, like it's fine. And then we come back up the river, and I'm like have my back to his parents' cabin because that's where he did it at. And my mom just like all of a sudden gets this look on her face, and she goes, turn around. And I was like, what? And so I did, and I was just so dumbfounded that it was happening, because I'd like convinced myself it was that week and then had unconvinced myself that it wasn't happening. So I kind of sat there for a while just because I was like reading it, because his sister had spelled out, "Will you marry me?" on the beach, and I just kept looking at it and making sure that it was his family that was standing above it, because I just like, I was in total shock. And then I turned around and he had the ring in his hand and he asked me and stuff. And it like didn't feel like a long time that it took me to answer yes. Obviously I was answering yes, but I was just still in such shock. But he thought it was a long time just because he was trying to drive the boat, so he was having to pay attention, so he thought it was going to be a faster situation, but I was just in such shock that it took me a minute to process.
Oh, she was blindsided. Well, I mean, she knew it was coming sooner or later, but for the day she was blindsided. Had an inside guy with my sister talking. It was a time talking her in and out of getting her nails done, which was, I mean, I had the idea, but my sister played a huge part in that, getting her to get her nails done. And then I just nonchalantly asked her to see if her family wanted to come up for the cabin for the weekend, just since they hadn't been up there yet, and make it kind of like a big family weekend. And everyone doubted me picking out the rings, but I've had quite a few people tell me I did a good job. And my sister came with me and helped out a lot with that, but in the end we were down to 2, and I went against what my sister initially thought and picked the one that I liked the most, and she hasn't complained, I suppose. Yeah, with the proposal, we just kind of went for a little boat ride down the river while, yet again, my sister played a big part in that, and she set it all up. Just with a sign on the beach that said, "Will you marry me?" And on our way back up there, we round the corner, and I was like, "Hey, look at that." And I swear, it felt like eternity. She sat there just with a dumb look on her face. I don't think she had a clue what the hell was going on. Because a little mischievous, so I planned it accordingly, and I bought a gun probably like a week or 2 prior to kind of throw her off the scent that I had saved up for a ring. And she was pissed. She wasn't gonna let me know it, but you could tell she was pissed. Oh shoot. Yeah, my sister was always just bewildered because I had that ring hidden in a chew can forever. Like I had it with me about everywhere, just hiding in a chew can. I'd leave it wherever, and the day up, I remember for sure the one time I handed it to her, and she's sitting there just spinning it in between her hands, and my sister's looking at me bug-eyed like, "Are you kidding me? What if she opened it?" And I'm like, "Why the hell would she open it?" But oh yeah, it was a lot of planning actually, but a big shout out to my sister for that, and it all came together pretty well, and it was a surprise, which is what I wanted.
So I definitely love his humor. He very much finds humor in almost anything. It can be really dark sometimes and maybe not at the right moment, but he's always just looking for ways to like make me laugh and make me feel better. We've been through a lot of things in our relationship, even since like the first time around, so he's really been my rock, and so his just needing to like make me feel better, and how just like the love that he shows me is probably my favorite thing about him.
Oh, my mom will get a chuckle out of this one, but wherever we go, we always have cake. If you know, you know. But otherwise, I think my favorite thing about her is she's got a heart of gold. She's one of the nicest, kindest people that I know. It bites her in the ass sometimes, and I guess that's what I'm there for, to kind of steer her in the right direction sometimes when that heart of gold can get her into trouble. But yeah, no, she's an amazing woman. Yeah, but I can't really say much more than that.
So the first time around that we dated, I definitely was not his sister's favorite person, nor his mom. He was just going off to college, so I think that's where a lot of the mixed feelings were, but they very much didn't like me, especially his sister Devin. But I guess this time around he told me that she was one of the ones to give him like the final push to like get back together with me. And now I literally talk to her almost every day. We work together, we carpool all the time. She's become pretty much one of my best friends. But we always just joke about how much she hated me the first time around and everything that she put me through back then. She doesn't remember it like that, but I do. I very much do. So we always just joke around about that, but I get along really well with his family now. I talk to his mom all the time too, and I just get along really well with them now.
It's still confusing, I tell you, to this day. I feel like probably a good portion of the family I've said hi to is nice to meet you today. Bear with me while I try to remember everyone. But as for like her immediate family, I know her mom's super nice, got along with her pretty well. Same with Marv. Get along with Marv really well. He's big into fishing too, so we had a lot to talk about. They hunt too, and so we always had something to talk about. And I know the first time I met Bob, I was terrified because Bob doesn't talk a lot, but he's a great guy. And I remember, especially when I went and asked everyone, I asked the whole family if I could marry Rachel. I was nervous. But it all ended up working out pretty well. No one said no, so hey. Well, I feel like there's a lot to say, but also not much. I think we kind of have the same idea of what our future is going to hold, and I'm really excited. I can't wait to see you be a mom. You're wonderful with children, especially with our nieces and nephews, and I can't wait for you to be able to experience that as the mother role. And hey, we're gonna rock this baby until the end.
Chayce, so we've been through a lot in life, and I knew really early on that you were going to be the one for me. Our life hasn't been perfect, and we've hit lots of bumps in the road and spent some time apart. But in the end, I'm so glad that life has chosen you to be my other half, and I really couldn't do this life without you, and I can't wait to see what our future has in store.